just, a seed got planted and the plant grew, and there we are.
And again, leading to city administration was as an elected official that got
Correct.
you toward this direction.
Yeah, I ran for office. I was encouraged to run for office locally in the village of Ashton, and that worked out well, and I enjoyed doing it, and decided I needed to pick a different career for myself, and public administration appealed to me, and I went through the program through Ashford University online, and then graduated, and it took a couple years to catch on with the city, and Comanche gave me the opportunity, and it's worked out pretty well. I've been here 5.5 years now, and I enjoy it.
5.5 years, and during that 5.5 years, quite a bit of development for Camanche. I can remember you talking to Dave at one time and saying that Camanche is a city. We're not a town, we're a
Correct.
city, and you're the city administrator.
Correct. There's always this conception that Comanche is a small town, and it's not. It's a small city, but it is a city. A town is 1,000 people. We have 4,500 people in that community, and we're starting to elevate our game to act more like a city and less like a small town. We want to keep that small town feel, that small town vibe, but we still have to do things that are proper for cities to do and progress into different areas, because the city is going to continue to grow. If the city doesn't grow, then you end up with a whole different set of issues going on. Stagnation or regression is not good for a city. It's not good for city finances. It's not good for public safety. It's not good for any of the other things that citizens want in a city, something that makes cities attractive for people to want to live in. And we're fortunate to have that growth happening.
No doubt you are seeing growth down there at Comanche, and what certainly will help with that growth is the recent bond rating that you received. Talk
Absolutely.
about that.
We're very, very pleased with that. We're issuing a bond for $2.25 million to fix 9th Street out in front of the Murphy subdivision. We're going to lower the street, and we're going to put in curb and gutter and add stormwater collection to that area. And it's necessary and important to do that project, for not only for the developments that have happened over the last 15 years, but also for future development as well. We're hopeful that we get some more housing put into some of the areas around there. But this is also a main artery off of the highway, and it should be a proper road. And in order to do it correctly, it's going to take some money to do it. So we sought a bond rating based on the advice from our financial advisors, and we went to Standard & Poor's for a rating, and we received an A+ rating on our debt and our cash flow finances. And it's a great thing for a small city to be able to get. Most small cities don't do bond ratings that way because it doesn't normally work out that well for them, but for us it worked out quite well, and we're very pleased to get that. So we've issued the bonds, and then on June 7th, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we'll be opening the bids for the $2.25 million bond. What that'll end up doing is getting us a better interest rate on that bond issuance than we would normally get.
Again, visiting with Andrew Kida. Now, Andrew, you said you went to Standard & Poor's. I mean, you do need to go to these people to get the bond rating?
It's either Standard & Poor's or it's Moody's. Those are the two big bond rating organizations. So when you hear about the S&P 500, that's Standard & Poor's. And they're the same. Their financial experts look at all the aspects of how the city operates, and that's how we got our rating there.
And you were telling me that maybe 4 years ago you might not want to have done this.
Correct. Our finances were not squared away, and our staff and our elected officials and the citizens as well that have supported the process that we've been going through have helped fix that problem. Our finances were not in great shape when I arrived there, and we've had to do some maneuvering around, and things are much better than they were before. And we're going to end the year pretty well. We'll still end the year with a surplus, and we're pleased with that. And we're still maintaining some of the lowest tax levy rates around for municipalities. Everybody else is much higher than ours is. Maybe not overall. The school referendum went through. So that impacted people's property taxes in the city of Comanche. But from a municipal standpoint, we're one of the lowest taxing cities around.
You mentioned the school. How are things coming on that project?
You'd have to ask Tom Parker.
Okay, all right.
It looks like they're moving along fine. Okay. I'm sure they're experiencing the same things that we experienced with our city hall expansion, where there are delays in getting materials, and that's common for a lot of people.
How closely do you work with the other municipalities, like the school board?
The governing bodies, yeah. When we have issues that are affecting the school district, I'll work with Tom. We're in the process of proposing a TIF district along Washington Boulevard. That'll be a great economic opportunity for the city to get some development happening. That can impact the finances for the school district, only from the standpoint of, for the properties that are in the TIF, they won't see the growth, increased property valuations to help their tax revenue coming in. But he's understanding of that it's important for the growth of the community, so they're supportive of those kinds of processes. So whenever we have anything like that going on, we always work with the school district. We just did a road project, and we fixed 11th Place out in front of the elementary school, and people over there used to park in the gravel on the side of the street because it had gravel shoulders. Well, we decided, if people are going to be parking there, why don't we just pave that area and give them a nice place to park? And I think people are very appreciative of that. And we worked with them on when the projects were going to happen, when they wouldn't be able to have access to that street, and we wanted to make sure we got that coordinated. So we do well with that.
Downtowns aren't as important as what they once were, but Comanche is kind of interesting. You really don't have a downtown.
That's right.
You've got Washington Boulevard.
We have a business district.
Yes.
But it's very limited in what we've had growing there, and part of that is our proximity to Clinton. It's very difficult to attract people to open businesses, especially retail operations, in Camanche because everything's right there, right on Highway 30. So some of these incentives are designed to help encourage different types of businesses to open there, and hopefully it's things that the entire area needs, not just Comanche, but the entire area, and we can attract some more people to come to Comanche and see what we have to offer.
Talk about the advantages and disadvantages of a community like Comanche being closer to a larger community like Clinton, and then, just down the road, 25 miles, you've got the Quad Cities.
It makes us a great location for people who want to live somewhere other than where they work. So there becomes a nice demand for property for people to live. If you look on Realtor.com, we have very few properties available in Comanche as compared to other cities, and that's because people want to live there. So they like the proximity to the advantages that Clinton has to offer, and they also like the proximity to the Quad Cities. We have quite a few people who work in the Quad Cities who have been moving up here because property values down in other cities down that way are becoming hard to deal with, and ours are more affordable in Comanche, so it's an attractive location. When you talk about the disadvantages, there's a lot of interest in development and things that are going on in a city like Clinton, and it makes us less in the spotlight. And especially the way our city's laid out with the bypass and everything, you barely know what's there unless you're driving on Washington Boulevard. So, we have some challenges that way, and we're starting to do things a little differently in creating economic development opportunities that draw people in. And one of those is Nave Family Beef, and we're excited for that project. They're opening up here. I think they're starting their operations this week, maybe even today. And that's just another great opportunity. When they open their storefront, it will draw people to Comanche.
We're going to be taking a break for the weather here in a minute, but you brought it up. How did this all come about for Comanche? I mean, did Andrew Nave approach you?
Yes.
Okay.
Him and his wife and their attorney came in to pay a visit, and they were looking for land, and I pointed them to the land that they're on, because some of the other land they were looking at didn't have city services. There was no water or sewer, and they needed that. And they were having some difficulty finding some people from ADM to talk about, and Tony Miller over at Arco and I are friends, and I said, I got a guy. And I had lunch with Tony the next day and gave him the business cards, and then all of a sudden the marriage happened. They purchased the land. We have very good water rates and sewer rates in Comanche, so it was very inviting to Nave Family Beef to do their operation there, and it's worked out quite well. We've been working closely with the city of Clinton too, because we send our sewage up there to make sure everything's proper, and that it's not going to negatively impact their system, and we believe it's going to positively impact their system because they're going to be sending household grade water or household grade sewage to the treatment facility. So that everything's going to work out well. And we had some assistance later on from Grow Clinton, then CRDC, in helping Nay Family Beef get USDA support and financial support to encourage the growth of that organization. So it was a group effort. It started with a meeting in my office. So it was a funny thing. It said, I got a guy, and a month later, there you are.
Outstanding. Again, visiting with Andrew Kida. We'll have more on the FYI program, but right now a break for the weather brought to you by Joe Leonard.
Happy Thursday. It is going to be an absolutely beautiful day today with those temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Plenty of sunshine to enjoy, and it's going to be very low humidity out there. There will be a little bit of a breeze with gusts up to around 20 miles per hour, but definitely gorgeous out there. Overnight tonight, we will stay clear. Lows will be in the mid 50s. Definitely could open up those windows. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s for Friday as we continue our beautiful stretch of weather with mostly sunny skies.
Right now we do have sunshine, 65 degrees, northwest winds. Our update brought to you by Joe Leonard.
Not satisfied with your current insurance agency and your current agent? Well then, what do you look for? You want an agency with a good reputation, competitive prices, and no high-pressure sales pitches. Contact the Joe Leonard Agency. Joe Leonard has been serving Clinton and the surrounding area for 27 years and is licensed in both Iowa and Illinois. The Joe Leonard Agency offers products for home, auto, life, and commercial, plus discounts for bundling home and auto policies. Joe Leonard's staff of Ann Jordan and Chris Mickelson are also licensed agents. Voted #1 agency in the Herald's Reader's Choice Awards. Give the Joe Leonard Agency a call at 563-243-8788 or visit them at 413 South 2nd Street, Clinton. Products underwritten by American Family Insurance and their affiliates.
Again, FYI, Andrew Kida in studio with us. Let's get started on that 9th Street project. We talked a little bit about it during the bond rating.
Yeah, so it's important that we get that project done. Again, it's going to be very expensive to do, but we're going to improve the stormwater runoff over there. Right now, a lot of water collects, and we've just been relying on it to soak into the ground. And about 10 years ago, they put in the bike path over there, and now that's trapped a lot of water in that area, and it's deteriorating the road as well. So we're going to fix that problem. And there's some of the most expensive homes in the city of Comanche right there in that Murphy subdivision. That's where our growth is happening too. And the entrance getting into that subdivision is just horrible. So we ought to do something to make that right. And again, you have some farmland to the south that we'd like to help develop and create the opportunity for developers to look at those properties to see if they can't make something happen there, and providing them the opportunity to plug into a system without having to invest a lot of money in the infrastructure is important for that kind of development. So you'll see a lot of work. That work will be happening next spring. It's not happening this summer. We're going to be busy with our roundabout project this summer, and that's going to tie up a lot of things, a lot of our attention for the summer.
Let's talk a little bit about roundabouts. For whatever reason, it seems to be controversial on some people's minds.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm the Rotary Club president this coming year, and our current district governor came and spoke to the Rotary Club, and she said this, and it was very wise words. She said, the only people who like change are babies with dirty diapers. And that's true. That's part of the problem that we have, is people don't like change. They hate those roundabouts. They think they're dumb. They think they're a waste of money. But what the end result is, you end up with far fewer high-speed collisions, which is our problem over at 67 and 7th Avenue, is the high-speed impact collisions that happen from people doing things that they ought not be doing. And a roundabout's going to prevent them from doing those kinds of things that will cause those types of injuries and those types of property damages. You may still have fender benders here and there, and that's fine, but it's a lot easier to deal with a fender bender than it is to extract someone from a vehicle.
And I know there has been quite a bit of studies done on the advantages of installing roundabouts in certain areas.
Right. So we had a safety study done on that intersection. We asked the DOT to have that safety study done, and they paid for it because we're a smaller city. And the results of that study found that the easiest solution to resolve that situation is a roundabout. So as long as it was feasible, and we ended up receiving now $800,000 towards that project of other funding that is going to help install that roundabout. Our price went up a little bit because there were aspects of the project that weren't accounted for, mainly stormwater. Fortunately, we have ARPA funding that's designed to invest in stormwater issues, so we'll be using some of that funding to cover that cost. So from local tax dollars, the only tax dollars that are going to be used are road use funds, and again, that's a road issue, so it's an appropriate allocation of those funds.
All right, very good. Now, you had mentioned you're the Rotary president, or
incoming president. Yes,
president.
I'm replacing Christy Collins, and that will be a monumental task because she's done a phenomenal job.
Okay, I think my brother Mike's a Rotarian, is he not?
He is, yeah.
Okay, all right. The depot project, talk about that.
So that's going to be the focus of my presidency, our big fundraiser. The Comanche Depot Museum is located down at the Comanche Public Library on that property, and it's fallen into disrepair. And it's one of the things we really want to start focusing on in Comanche overall is taking care of the stuff we have. We haven't done a great job of that. We're starting to focus on that and doing things the right way. Just like I mentioned earlier about 9th Street, when they put in that bike path, they didn't do it completely right because it was too expensive. But now we're paying for it later. You pay for it now, or you pay for it later. And the same thing with our business, or with our buildings and the properties that the city owns. We have to do a better job of maintaining those things, and we haven't done a great job of the depot. It's a great little location and a great museum, and people love going through it. We haven't had the ability for people to go through it because it's in disrepair. So this was born out of what we know to be true, is that the Canadian Pacific and the Kansas City lines are going to merge, and they're going to greatly increase train traffic through that community. And I identify that as being a safety issue, a safety concern, especially for the youth in our community who don't necessarily have to deal with that volume of train traffic. So we wanted to provide them a location where we could conduct train safety events every summer. And that depot made the most sense to do that. We're looking to have some kind of event every summer with bounce houses and food trucks and music and train safety. We've got a commitment from the Canadian Pacific line that they're going to send people, and they've already committed $5,000 towards the project. Union Pacific has noted that they're going to give sweat equity in having someone come down and help with the train safety days, and we've asked for funding from them too, and we'll find out shortly if we receive that or not. And we're going to rehab that building, get it operating properly as a museum, and that'll be the location where we have our train safety day. The Comanche Public Library, Anna Evans over there's working on setting up the program. The Comanche Police Department with Chief Schmitz, he's working on things to get the police department involved in that, and Chief Schutte will be working with him and getting some of the fire department help in presenting what will be a fun program, but it'll be focusing on train safety, and it's a necessary thing. And it won't just be for people in Comanche. We'll be getting kids from Clinton to come down to that too, and families for that matter, because that line also runs right along the river there through Clinton. So that volume of trains is coming, whether we like it or not, and we ought to be prepared to help fix those or educate folks in the community what's safe and what's not safe to do when you have that many trains coming through. And the Rotary Club Foundation has committed to that as the project and help funding that project. And we're going to build up a lot of money. We need to get to about $41,000, and I think we're almost halfway there already without even making a big announcement. And I'm excited for that.
Well, it sounds like it's been well thought out and a worthwhile project, and as you said, great education opportunity for the young people.
Absolutely. I think if we reacted to a tragedy, it would be gut-wrenching when we know that this is coming. So let's be proactive and create something ahead of time, and not wait for something to force us to do it. Let's get out ahead of that. I love getting out ahead of things like that, and that's a great way to do it.
If people are interested in maybe helping with the project financially or otherwise, how can they do that?
All of the Rotary Club of Clinton Foundation will be the funnel by which we fund the project. So if they want to make a dedicated donation to the Rotary Club of Clinton Foundation, they can contact me, and that's a tax-deductible donation. That's a 501c3 operation. They can also do things that help support the Rotary Club, which would be our Boo Bash event that happens on October 28th. We're gearing up for that now, getting ready for that. If people become sponsors for that event or attend that event, even attending that event helps fund that project. So that'll be you'll be hearing more about that soon. But those are the ways you can do that for now.
I know Rotarians and the other service groups do so much good for the communities that they are in.
This year, again, I can't say enough about Christy Collins over at Edward Jones and how much she's done for the club this year and in finding ways to focus money. We gave $1,500 towards the sign, that's the LED sign that's going in Comanche. There's money that went to Meadowview Pool for their roof. And $5,000 just went to the city of Clinton and for the Lover's Fountain. So we're constantly taking that money in that people donate to our organization and getting it back out to the community where it's needed.
Again, Andrew Kida, Comanche, visiting with us. Sewer rate changes.
We are having some sewer rate changes. We haven't had a sewer rate base adjustment since 2012. So it's been 10 years, and it'll be. On the base, $1.75 a month, and that's going to help. We've had to dig out the sewer fund from a very bad hole. When they did the lift station project in 2010, there was plenty of money in the sewer fund, but there was never a rate adjustment to bring in enough money to pay for the debt. So when I got here, that sewer fund was $96,000 in the red. And before you turn around, it's already $180,000 in the red. And you're like, hey, we got to do something here. So we did a debt service fee to help dig us out of that hole a little bit and now pay for the debt on that, and that comes off in 2031, I think. And so now we need to do some adjustments to the rate, to the base rate, so that the fund is positive now, and that's great. What we need to do is build that fund to have an adequate cash reserve, and that's what we're going to be working towards doing.
Talking about educating the public when you want to do something like that.
Well, we use our social media as much as we can to educate the public. It's very difficult to get it out. We get newsletters out every quarter, although we didn't get one this early spring. Before you turn around, we're already sending bills out, and it becomes a challenge to do that. And we don't have a whole lot of staff. I'm the one who ends up writing the newsletter. I do the whole design and publisher, and I've got other things to do. So, but we will be getting one out this quarter for the billing, and those are the primary ways we get information out to people. And the other things that we are doing now too is we're live streaming all of our council meetings, so you can tune into our YouTube channel and watch the council meeting, or you can watch it recorded anytime. And so information is much more available to folks. They just have to take some effort to seek it out.
How are your new digs? How are things going there?
It's fantastic. I'll tell you what, if people want to come into Comanche City Hall, we have some minor touches that we still have to do. We'll be holding a ribbon cutting and an open house soon. But come on down and take a look. It's much more professional. We gained a whole lot of square footage of space. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but when people come inside, they're like, holy cow, this is huge. And it really operates like a professional office now. I no longer have my clerk and billing clerk sitting at kitchen counters doing work. They're actually at desks, and it's much more professional.
I see you got a drive up there, too.
We have the drive-through. There was a lot of hand-wringing about the size of that thing, but someone in a Lincoln Navigator came through it just fine. There are people who are hand-wringing about that's too small for our big vehicles. We've had plenty of big vehicles come on through, and people seem to like it, and they're very appreciative that they don't have to get out of their car in the rain to conduct business at City Hall.
Enjoyed visiting with you this half hour. Thanks so much for coming in. People want to find out more information about the city of Comanche. How can they best do that?
Check out the city's website, www.comancheia.org. Or check us out on Facebook. We do a lot of updating there, too.
Andrew, thank you.
Thank you.